Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. It is officially October now, which means it is spooky season, and we've just launched our first ever Halloween themed comic, Isolation. So today we're going to be doing another origin stories video about the lore behind Isolation, how the idea came about. It is based on a true story, so we're going to delve into a bit of that and basically talk about how the whole idea came to be. So Isolation is a short comic, including the covers. It is 16 pages long, and like I say, it is based on a true story that happened a couple of weeks before Christmas last year. Now, this video is going to contain some spoilers, so if you want to read the comic and not have it spoiled for you, the link to purchase that is in the description below, and then you can come back and watch this video afterwards. So, like I say, this is based on a true story. This happened a couple of weeks before Christmas last year in 2022. My parents have a dog called Leonard. So Leonard is essentially Iggy and Travis's uncle, my brother, if that makes sense. So yeah, Leonard stayed over with us for about a week last year. Parents went away for a few days and we were just looking after the dog for them. And the cats don't particularly like dogs. They've had a handful of experiences with them, but the issue with Leonard is that he's quite boisterous and loud, and he's not bothered about the cats or like getting them or anything. He just gets really excited and starts barking, and that's enough for the cats to not want anything to do with him. So when he stayed over, he was obviously kept in the living room, and the cats essentially migrated upstairs for the full week. We did everything we could to try and get them to come down, but they were having absolutely none of it, and it basically got to the point where we had to move everything that they needed upstairs. So the litter trays went upstairs, the food went upstairs, the water went upstairs, a couple of toys went upstairs. They slept on our bed, so that made no difference, but yeah, we literally had to transport their essentials for daily life into the bedroom because they just refused to come downstairs. And that is the main premise behind this comic. So the title is obviously Isolation, based on the fact that they essentially isolated themselves upstairs for a week. And you can see on the cover that it's Travis and some form of beast in the shadows, and that is because it's a Halloween comic, so I've tried to write it in a manner that translates as a horror. It's still family friendly, suitable for kids and all ages. There's, as with everything, there's no vulgar language, there's no gore or anything like that. It's just that I've written it so that Leonard comes across as this big scary beast and the cats won't go downstairs because they don't know what monster's lurking, but in the end they do eventually come down, and it turns out it was just Leonard and the cats were overreacting. So that is the main premise behind the story. Now, to give it a bit more of a Halloween feel, obviously you can see on the cover that the two predominant colours are this blue and orange, which I think work really well together, and I've carried that all the way throughout the book. So this is something that I've not done before, and it was sort of a new technique that I was trying, but essentially every page throughout the book is blue and orange to sort of carry on this spooky feel. And in each frame I've edited like shadows around the images, so again it feels a little bit more ominous and spooky. Also, looking at some of the finer details in the books, obviously we are Seven Bells Comics, and with this being our first Halloween comic, I've edited it on the cover so that it's actually from Seven Hells Comics. Just little details like that to give it a more spooky feel. Like I say, the colouring I think is pretty on point for the theme that I was going for. Like I say, this is 16 pages long, including the covers, so it's not a particularly long story, hence why it's great for kids. It's short and snappy, gets to the point, the story is told fairly quickly, and the plot develops quite quickly as well. So if you do have kids who want to read this who maybe don't have the longest attention span, then this is the perfect length for them. With it being a special Halloween edition as well, it is also limited to 30 copies, and what I've done to try and make it a little bit more special is create a custom dust jacket for the comic. Now you can see in the video here that this was my first attempt at doing this, so I'm aware it's not perfect or maybe as exciting as what some other small comic creators make, but for my first attempt I'm pretty happy with this. So as you can see, what I've basically tried to do is replicate the cover with Travis's head and cut that out so it's sort of like a 3D cutout, and then that folds down to reveal the actual cover itself. And then on the back I've got the backing plate, if you want to call it that, that just says it's Isolation, it's limited edition, and then I've hand numbered and signed the comic as well out of 30 so that you know it is a limited edition or collector special, if you want to call it that. I figured by doing this it gives the book a little bit more of a collectability factor. There's so many people who just make comics, and I've been guilty of that over the last year, and I was trying to think of ways that would make it a little bit more special and a little bit different and actually stand out from the crowd, and I think doing something like this has achieved that. But yeah, there will be a separate video coming on how I actually made those covers because they were DIY and I made them at home. So yeah, that's pretty much how I came up with the idea for my first ever Halloween comic. As with nearly all of my other comics, it's based on something from real life. If you didn't know, the tattoos and the stretched ears might fool you, but I am actually not a huge horror fan. I don't like gore, I don't like being scared, I don't like demons. I live in a happy fantasy world where I watch bright colourful cartoons and everything is cool. So not having much experience or prior knowledge in horror / Halloween themed things, this was quite a challenge. But I did really enjoy that. I spoke to a couple of friends who are more into horror than me, and they gave me some really good feedback and sort of helped me get this comic to the point that it's at now at release. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm really proud of it. I think I say this every time I release a comic, but I think this is probably the best one that I've done yet, which is a great thing because it feels like each comic that I'm doing is gradually getting better and better, and obviously that's what we want. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video and the origin stories behind Isolation. If you want to grab a copy, they are limited to 30, and I will leave the link in the description below so you can grab that on the website. Alternatively, I'm doing, now that we're in October, it's getting to my busy period, so I'm doing sort of a market, at least one market or Comic-Con every weekend now. So there's plenty of opportunities to come out and see us around Yorkshire, mainly in Leeds. So you can come out and see it in person before buying, but like I said, they are limited to 30. So if you do really want one, then I would suggest buying them online. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a like and comment if you want to see more origin stories behind my comics, and don't forget to subscribe as well. Don't forget, if you enjoy this video and you want to see them before anyone else, as well as a ton of behind the scenes access and catching up on content over the last year, then you can join our cult on Patreon. We've got tiers starting from just £1 a month, and we offer both physical and digital benefits, and you can now grab all of our comics in a PDF format if you are watching this overseas, because we only ship within the UK, so you can now grab them on Patreon as a PDF downloadable file. But thanks for watching, everyone. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks, everyone.